start for you. Is that reverse? It's been a while. What the f? Oh, my tire's flat. Good thing the Sidekick comes with onboard air. Budget.
Brad, I'm pretty sure that's not gonna...
Dude, it's onboard air. My mama said so.
Brad, it came loose.
We actually got better onboard air. I forgot about this. I always forget about the cool features of this thing.
A few minutes later. Six and a half hours later.
Now that is done. Don't look at that, that's the other budget crawler. So just like on the big $150,000 Toyota, we got the dual cases in here. Mine's better though. I got a 4-to-7 in one, so we're like 10-to-1 at low. So on today's video, we're gonna talk about the budget crawler, the Sidekick. This thing,
it has a Chevy logo on the steering wheel.
Don't worry about that. So this thing actually started its life out as a 1998 Chevy Tracker, changed from Geo, but there's still Suzuki Sidekicks at heart. Under the hood, it's got a 1.6 liter 16 valve Suzuki motor, the big block of the Suzuki motors. All right, so this bad under the hood, as I said, 16 valve, big block of the Suzuki motors. When I got it, it overheated. I drove it to the Rubicon, and I had to roadkill it. I had to pull the hood off, strap it to the hood because it just kept overheating. It had a Honda Civic radiator that was this wide. So I bought the biggest radiator off of Temu that I could and got that in there. Got some exhaust pipe holding it together. Of course, a high quality steel zip tie holding that down. We got a Honda Civic cheap intake setup because I had to cut out my airbox and my headlights for all the flex, of course. We got a nice aluminum strut bar in here just because aluminum makes you go faster. Speaking of go fast, this right here, because of all the high-end suspension on here, this thing will do 85, 90 miles an hour down the road. No problem, one finger in it. All right, let's talk more about the exterior features on here. So this thing has an 11-point cage system on it. We start from the old leaf spring hangers. We came around, rolled fenders, all our glamorous cross tubes. We were in with the dual parallel upper 17 pillars. They're super mint. I wanted to keep the weight down, so I made this tube out of 095, just because you don't want to be too top heavy. Built in the custom ladder to get to your onboard air on top. We got hog wire up top also, so that the whole top I can just strap my shit down. I actually like to run the soft bags. You throw all your bedding and clothing in there so you don't put anything heavy up there, but waterproof, dustproof, because you got to have a comfy place to sleep once you get all oily and dirty on the trail, because you always end up on your top for some reason. Then around back, we probably have the most expensive item on the thing, and it's the grill right here. You can't have a true budget rock crawler without a $400 barbecue. Trailer jack. Thing is sketchy as hell. It literally wobbles like that when you're using it. Got our nice full-size spare. Tire carrier is a little broken. It actually is separating and broken back here, so we're gonna have to jack that up and fix her. And besides our custom patina paint job, this is one of the best features besides all the nice suspension parts we have on it. We still got working windshield wipers. Budget. They broke again. So enough for the external beauty shots. Let's flex this bitch out.
How long is this going to take?
Yeah. Well, since the Temu shocks are exposed and so flexed out, we'll talk about those first. So we got 16-inch emulsion coilovers. I couldn't spring enough money to get a real reservoir. So essentially it's just a basic shock with coilovers on it. A lot of people don't really know that. So the more you know. One of the absolute coolest features and most talked about on this rig though is the bungee cord that holds my brake line back. This one's about due for a replacement because it's not bungeed anymore, but dude, that is like the absolute bee's knees most talked about thing on the whole vehicle. So the front of this rig's got a custom 3-link. We bought most of the parts off of Temu like before, so these are the Temu special 10-degree bent lower links. Gives you a little bit more clearance in the rocks. We got our nice rough stuff Heims. Got those off of Temu also. This is their new listing. I put bump stops on it before the last trip to the Rubicon. These are the old leaf spring pockets. I don't know how it works so good. I just busted a hole in there, got the plasma out, plasmaed a hole back here, bolted them on. Like 15-minute install. It worked great. Budget. So here's another controversial item on it. Driveline shop made my driveline too short. You know, you give them measurements, you think it'd be right. So I had to get a driveline spacer. Everybody that I talked to is like, oh dude, you're gonna break that, it's not gonna work. I actually, after having this on the rig for 7 years or so, it is one of the best upgrades we've made. I've never broken a U-joint or anything, and I have a feeling it's because this hits the rocks and it's not, since it was nice and smooth and round. It's kind of like a U-joint skid plate. So one of the things to expect with your budget rock crawler is gonna be leaks, axle seals, all kinds of shit always broken and leaking. So we got oil dripping out of here. So one, we know there's oil in it because it's still dripping, but we should probably top it off before we go again. The front axle is like an 80s Ford Bronco axle that's been flipped with the knuckles cut. We are running Chevy big bearing outers with custom hot metal fab high steer setup. Our panhard bracket we brought out way far. Our goal was to try to make our panhard and our drag link the same length. You get less bump steer the closer those are together. We got a nice sweet hot metal fab truss on it, fully trussed. When I first got this thing, it smiled, no joke. When we put a straight edge across, it was a whole inch out. But we fixed that with a bottle jack and a chain, and now it's straight-ish. We have the best upgrade on the front axle though, the rock basher. I can just plow into anything and it just moves out of the way. It spreads them cheeks so good.
That's what she said.
We built this rig with a couple main things in focus. One, gotta talk on the Jeeps. We got little tires. All them got big axles and big tires. They're still breaking down. They're still just not doing well. We've done all of the major trails up here in Northern California. We've been up and down Fordyce. We've recovered people off of Fordyce. We've been up and down Rubicon numerous times. A couple of obstacles that we have struggled with though. I struggled on Soup Bowl for years. I could go up Soup Kitchen, no problem. Could not make it up Soup Bowl. I'd just get to the top, flop over, try it. It's probably been on its top 10 times going up Soup Bowl. Yeah, this thing's been on its top, no joke, 20, 30 times. It's not a trip if Brad doesn't roll it over. All right, let's pull this thing down and show the best part about the whole rig. Tire flat. Budget. Piece of
Brad, your back tire's off the ground.
No, it's not. We're fine. We're fine. So once again, one of the budget things, she dripping gear oil out the side. I sunk it in Fordyce Creek about a year ago. Drove in, literally sucked water into the motor, had to have my buddy winch me out. When I came back, the whole front end was completely full of water. So I thought it was time to do some inner axle seals. Well, change out the axle seals, motherfucker leaks worse than when I started now. Budget. So we already talked about the T-Move front link setup on there. Now let's talk about the Alibaba rear setup. So it has a 4-link with a 1/4 elliptical spring in there. Super controversial, super old school. When people walk up and look at this, they're like, what the heck is that? But as you can see, we're getting almost as much flex out of that half of a leaf spring as we are with the 16-inch coilovers up front. This is actually almost exactly as it was when I bought it. I did rebuild the brackets because they were kind of puny and I was afraid of them breaking, which they would have because these ones have started to separate from the frame. We just we get a stick welder up in there and send it. Usually have to do that like every other year, but it's still holding strong. Like I said, it was done when I got it. The cool thing about this is a 16-year-old kid actually built most of this vehicle. He built a custom triple stick, all handmade. That's still rolling, haven't done any changes to that. He linked the front, the rear. The front had was just leaf springs on it with a huge 12-inch shackle. I took it out 3 times, or the first 3 times I took it out, I bent a leaf spring. And when I came back, I said, F that. I linked it after that, and the front has been rocking and rolling ever since. It's pretty much dead reliable. I've broke 1 axle shaft in the rear. Never broke anything in the front. I have blown a motor. I hydrolocked it up at Moon Rocks. I was flipped upside down during a Memorial Day party and everybody tried to rush me. So I tried to start it, and I bent one of the connecting rods. I actually rocked that motor for about 3 years with a loud tick till it finally gave out on Fordyce. And I still ended up having to tow people out on Fordyce that trip. Got home and my connecting rod was literally an S shape. I wish I still had it to show you. A couple things I'm noticing now that we're actually like scrutinizing everything about this is, man, if you have to work on this on the trail, you're gonna get cut up. The old spring pockets the kid barely cut off, that's sharp. Some kid, me, just chopped the factory mount, that's sharp. Budget. You know, it holds together, but let's talk about the rear axle. The rear axle, all it is it's a Toyota e-locker housing. It has a cable conversion kit to actuate the e-locker. That has been broken since I owned it, so it's pretty much fully locked. We've got a spool up front, e-locker in lock position in the rear. It always rocks and rolls, dead reliable. Oh, I found a quarter. So that's a wrap on the budget rock crawler build. You gotta love just having the cheapest thing out there that shits on all the Jeeps out there. But if you liked this video, go check out the $150,000 Tacoma video. Remember, like, subscribe, follow us, check out our Instagram. Your mom. Budget.